wsmn.live.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. 2 National Guard members from West Virginia rushed to the hospital today after being shot in downtown Washington near the White House. The incident happened in the afternoon. Authorities say it appears to be targeted. According to D.C. law enforcement officials, a suspect is in custody and the scene has been secured. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
FBI Director Kash Patel says the attack is being investigated as an attack on federal law enforcement officers.
2 of our brave members of the National Guard and the Department of War were brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition.
Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser called it a targeted shooting. Federal and city officials wouldn't say what the suspect's motive was, saying it's still the preliminary stages of the investigation. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump, after being briefed, ordered 500 more National Guard members be deployed to Washington, D.C. This is ABC News. It was a piece of paper signed by the men who helped create the most iconic companies in the world. Now it's going up for auction.
It was a contract signed on April Fool's Day, 1976, but there's nothing foolish about what it created. A copy of the agreement founding Apple is going up for auction at Christie's in January. The company originally split 3 ways, 45% each for Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, and 10% for Ronald Wayne, who knew both from their time at Atari. Shortly after, Wayne, a bit nervous about the potential ups and downs of the new company, sold his share for a few $100s. That stake would have been worth $410 billion today. Early estimates are the contract could fetch $4 million. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Today's SpaceX launch was scrubbed. The company was set to send more than 100 satellites into space in the single launch. No reason was given for postponing today's launch, but SpaceX says the spacecraft and payloads are good. The next launch window is Friday. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dependable Lock Service is your source for replacement car keys, custom safes from Liberty Safe, and so many more lock and key services. With over 30 years of experience in lock and key industry, there's nothing Dependable Lock Service can't do for you. Whether you're looking for duplicate automotive chip keys, rekeying commercial and residential locks, or custom safe building, we've got you covered. Call 603-886-0559. Nashua's dependable lock services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning. I'm Ed Mullen from Nashua Aerial Advertising. There's no better way to advertise your business and or message than high in the sky. How can you make your advertising budget work for you? By putting your ads up where they'll stand out. The sky is an uncluttered, impressive venue. You can put your message over a region or location to target your desired demographic. Put your ads where they're needed. We provide coverage over communities through Merrimack Valley, Greater Nashua, Manchester, Lowell, and points throughout South Central New Hampshire and North Central Mass. Summertime beaches, sporting events, races, fairs, and festivals are all ready-made for banner telling. For more information, please visit us online at NashuaAerialAdvertising.com. And remember, the sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning.
NASCAR. It's more than just driving fast and turning left. Bob Bianchi and myself, Bob Bartis, are credential-carrying members of the NASCAR media. Each week, our live 2-hour broadcast breaks down everything happening in the world of NASCAR. We recap the prior week's race results, preview the upcoming races, and discuss the NASCAR news. If you like racing or fast cars, join us live in the showroom at Allen Mello Dodge every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. or listen, stream, and watch at wsmn.live.
Hello. As the holidays approach, we at the Nashua Community Music School want to give thanks to our friends and supporters. Together, we are dedicated to serving our community through music. As we approach this giving season, consider visiting our website, wsmn.live, or following us on Facebook and Instagram at NashuaCMS to check out all of the amazing businesses and individuals who support us. Want to reach out and see how we can make innovative music accessible to everyone? Give us a call at 603-881-7030 to see how you can help put the community in the Nashua Community Music School.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Welcome to the Common Sense Conservatives, a political discussion group about current events and other government-related matters every Wednesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Right here on WSMN 1590 AM, WSMN 95.3 FM, and streaming live on wsmn.live. Making sense of the inverted reality we are subject to every day, the Common Sense Conservatives are here to help bring you back to reality. Now, your hosts, Chris Wyatt, Todd McKinley, and John Glovender.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Common Sense Conservatives. It's another Wednesday night. Chris Wyatt will not be joining us tonight because he has obligations, so we'll be missing him for tonight. The day before Thanksgiving, Todd, so happy Thanksgiving to all, prematurely speaking, because I can't tell you tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there listening. I hope you're enjoying your holiday, going out to visit people and having a good time and seeing family, man. That's what it's all about. So how you doing there, Todd?
No, not bad. Just hanging in there, just taking in the news. Colonel Chris Wyatt's off tonight. For everybody who didn't get the memo, he's got an obligation, a fundraiser, I believe it is. But we'll welcome him back next week for sure. I hear about all the turkey stories, and of course any stories that he may have from between now and then, doing his other work that he does. Of course, he's out there pretty much every day doing something, broadcasting on his channels. Breaking news, etc. So we'll look forward to having him back next week, folks.
Oh yeah, he does a lot of YouTube daily videos on YouTube and stuff, mostly about South Africa and stuff. And so, yeah, it's always an interesting report. So I did see somebody come in on the YouTube while we were waiting for the top of the hour breaks to end. And common sense and conservatives don't mix. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, I think we're the most rational people that are out there. I mean, there's some certainly hardline nut jobs that consider themselves conservative, but I don't believe that's true. But look at what the left has wrought over the past, just the past decade alone. Let's figure out who's rational: the right, common sense conservatives, or the left. Where they think that you can make up a gender or an identity, and there you are. You're a unicorn today, you're a whale tomorrow, you're a dragon the next day. Let's pick a lane, folks.
Well, it was Karate Cat, so they may be a furry. I don't know.
Right.
I'll
give you the right. You have every right to identify as whatever. It doesn't make it a reality. So who's more common sense here? You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm getting you, man. I'm getting you.
Right.
So, I think somebody's riding high off this last weekend's events down there in Washington, D.C. and other cities across the United States with the Remove the Regime event. Have you heard about this?
Oh, is it kind of like the No Kings event here?
Exactly. They had this big DC event over at the Lincoln Memorial, and they had all these guest speakers. And ironically, they were saying some of the things that we've said here on the show, like $38 trillion debt is absolutely ridiculous, and they don't
thanks
budget.
For getting with the program left.
Yeah, right. So there's some alignment there, but then they started lying about J6 and they were insurrectionists and saying Trump is breaking the law and he's an illegitimate president and calling for Congress, and Congress is going to have to listen and we're going to make them listen. And it's like,
no, you're not.
Okay.
No, you're not.
Good luck with that, sunshine. You just wasted
not.
lots and lots of money down there in DC trying to get absolutely nothing done.
Yep. Well, let's look at Washington. Let's look at Capitol Hill. You said it was at the Lincoln Memorial, right? So let's pretend you're at the Lincoln Memorial. Do an about face, put the Lincoln Memorial at your back, and look over there, past the Washington Monument, up to Capitol Hill, and see the Capitol. You see people in the House, Senate, Republicans, Democrats, that don't give one care about what you're talking about. And it's not because of whether you're right or wrong. They don't have to listen to you. They don't have to listen to most everybody that's out there. This includes people on the right or the left, the everyday people, because guess what? They're bought and paid for by rich interests for the most part. And this cuts across party lines. Now, that doesn't include everybody for sure, but by and large, most of them are bought and paid for by the same money So it's funny. It's like, oh, it's the left, it's the right, Republican, Democrat. No, it's the same people. So whenever you say establishment, you're not necessarily saying Republican establishment or Democrat. It's the same people behind the scenes, for crying out loud. So I look at it as like this. Yeah, you may have some good points, in your argument, but we're like lobsters in a pot because we can't agree on things. Common ground here. That way we can go to Congress and say, hey, listen to what we have to say. We're united on these issues. They're happy for us to be divided, left versus right, conservative, liberal, whatever the case may be, because that means we're not united against them. And they're not.
Exactly. Divide and conquer. And that's what it comes down to. And
absolutely.
You're right. That's why they call it the uniparty system, because the same people funding the left are funding the right. And that's why we got rhinos, is because they're funding them.
And you get a lot of folks who've been to DC for years now that had a lot of promise going up there that came through with the Tea Party movement, if you will. Even those who came in the early MAGA movement, 15-16 election, right? You see a lot of them, all of a sudden they're on board with the old establishment, do business the old way, because you want to be there for longevity. You want to be there for 10, 15, 20 years. You want those chairmanships, you want that power, you want that money under the table. So you're going to sit there and you're going to get on board with what they're talking about. I mean, you're essentially going to toe the line, and it's sad.
That's the problem to me with parties.
Right.
I'm kind of, problem. Yeah, I may be a registered Republican. It's not really that. I just did it because I was an independent. And I went in and voted for a Republican primary, so I didn't reestablish my independent status. So therefore, I by default became a Republican. For me, parties don't matter, and the reason why you just described, they're being bought by both sides. Everything's being pushed in one direction. There's slight variances on how they want to do things. Right now, though, I'm very happy with this Congress and Trump, because they are trying to downsize government. People don't seem to understand. You can sit there on the National Mall all day long, and you can complain about how Obamacare is not being funded and the cost and increase of health insurance in the United States. But what they don't see is there's a front side, a back side to this. If you're going to fund Obamacare and subsidize Obamacare, $1.some-odd trillion, you're putting the debt on the country, and that debt's going to inflate. So you may gain on the front side, but you're going to lose it on the back side due to inflation. And people don't seem to understand this. They just see, oh, I'm going to get quick savings now. Dude, it's not about the here and now. We're supposed to have a country to sustain for generations to come. And if we don't start acting responsible and take responsibility for our actions and have a Congress that's budgeting and preparing and aligning things and staying within their budget, we're going to outspend ourselves to the point we become crippled as a nation. And we're already getting there. We're going to lose, and we're going to collapse as a nation because we're outspending and carrying too much debt, and our debt start to outweigh our revenue stream.
Right. Well, you got to think the entitlement spending is the bulk. 80% of the budget, right? Whenever you have a budget, so you only have 20% that's discretionary. So you're not going to be able to save your way out of here on discretionary spending. I mean,
Congress is going to have to do cuts, and unfortunately, some of that's going to be military cuts. We're going to have to think about our positions in the globe and stuff. That we're over the threshold, and if we don't get serious and start doing cuts and coming back a little bit, so we can start buying down our debt, all we're going to do is work to pay the interest on the debt. And ironically, a certain percentage of Social Security and what do they call it? Mutual funds are invested into our national debt. So they take your money as retiree, or they take your money as future retirees, and they used it to cover the debt, more or less. So what are you getting? You're getting maybe 3% interest, but you have a 15% inflationary rate. Are you winning in this scenario? No, you're not winning in this scenario. So we have to get some sort of responsibility underway here with Congress, or we are all proverbially screwed as a nation. Or I should say collectively, right? Collectively, we're
collectively, not collectively.
Collectively as a nation, we are all screwed. So at some point in time, man, it is time to do some knocking on some doors. Next year's an election year, and we're going to start beating down their doors or getting to them town hall meetings and start talking to them about this seriously. If you don't get this under control, we're all done.
Yeah, but the sad part is you say we're going to knock doors. How many people actually knock on doors for actual knocking on doors? I'm
talking about congressional doors, but
right. No, I'm talking about where it counts out in the streets for knocking on doors for good candidates. trying to get good people elected. Whereas, somebody with a lot of money can come in and spend money on ads, can buy people to go knock doors, all this stuff. But the grassroots people just say to heck with it. It's too much money against me, so I won't run. And good people won't stand up for these upstart candidates that, could honestly fare well if people help them knock on doors, make those phone calls, do social media work for them. Instead, people just kind of throw their hands up and say, well, nothing I can do. It's all rigged, which is stupid.
Yeah, that is the worst cop out. That is the worst cop out. So I see people say that all the time. I don't bother to vote. It's all rigged. My vote don't count. It's pointless. I'm not wasting
But they're
my
the
time.
first
My
to
time's better
complain.
spent elsewhere. But you're making it easy for them to cheat. You're making it easy for them to turn the screws on the country because you're not getting out there making it hard for them to win their elections.
Because you think about this, safe districts, let's say Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter, where people don't run in primaries because they're like, oh, so-and-so is going to get it, whatever. It's all rigged, all this good stuff. The incumbents think, well, I'm doing such a good job because they're just reelecting me year after year. So they're not going to change how they do business for sure. Because the message is no one ran against me. I didn't have to scrape and fight for it to get reelected. So I think I'm doing a good job. I'm going to continue doing what I do.
Mm-hmm. You hear that from time to time, these people that have uncontested races. And every once in a while they have them for term after term.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden somebody in their office says, you know what, I've been watching what you're doing and I don't like it. They run against them. And this guy realizes he's underwater.
Well, in Tennessee right here, most districts in Tennessee, and I'll just pick on the first congressional district where I live. I look at the different counties, cities, and the municipal races, etc. And you see how many people run for reelection and how many people, are running for the first time. And most of the time it's the incumbents that continue to get put in there because new people don't run against the incumbents. They wait for it until it's an open seat. Then they'll run for something. It's rarely that they'll challenge the incumbents, which is sad.
Well, it is. And the reason why is, you hear that. Well, my representative or my senator is a really good senator, and I don't want to be the one trying to bump them out. It's not about bumping them out. It's about making a name for yourself so you're the up and comer, because sooner or later they don't want to be there anymore. Or if you want to transition somewhere else later on in another race, maybe even only a state race,
right?
You can do so because now you got a name for yourself. You got some notoriety. You've spoken up. People know who you are. They got familiarity with you. So when you're running, they're gonna continue to listen to you more intently because they've heard from you before.
Yeah, and a lot of times the upstarts, and especially in recent years, and I'm just going to pick on the right here for a moment. The left for years have been just really loud, right? The loud, they think whenever you campaign, you got to yell and scream and call names and all this stuff. Now the right, a lot of these upstart people on the right are doing the same exact things, taking it from the playbook of the left. And I'm like, this is no way to run a campaign or to hold elective office, because whenever you get into public office, you burn all the bridges that you need to the people that you're serving. You've already burned all those bridges. So how can you go back to them and tell them you're working for them? You've already called them names and everything under the sun, especially at a local office, for crying out loud, where everybody knows everybody. Everybody lives in the same community. If you're going to go out there and you're going to throw shade at, or attack your opponent, or, for whatever reason, at some point you're going to have to serve those people who they're related to and who supported them, because it's such a small area. So people need to realize that, go out there and talk about issues, delineate yourself, if you will, compare, contrast between the other candidate, but you don't have to go out there and attack them, for crying out loud, especially at a local race. I mean, it's just not needed.
Anytime it shouldn't be done, right? You don't build yourself up by tearing somebody else down. You've got to elevate yourself.
Yeah.
And this is what we get. We get the ad hominems, name calling,
ad hominem attack. Yeah. Gotcha.
Ad hominem attacks is, it's a form of weakness. I still didn't say that right. I know I did.
I know it's all right, but it is because you can't talk about issues. So you pivot to calling somebody a name, or say, yeah, well, what about this? Or what about their association with, so-and-so over here? It's like, well, guess what? They have to talk to everybody, people that you disagree with, because that's what in governing, you have to listen and talk to people that maybe you don't agree with on a personal level.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Learning how to have proper discussion, adult discussion helps. We see that too much in politics. These people resort to name calling, mudslinging. And at the end of the day, they're like, oh, well, we kissed and made up. Yeah, but you did it though. No, you could have been a bigger man, right?
Right. I mean, there's people that I ran against or that supported other candidates that that called me some pretty good names. And of course, now all of a sudden they're coming with their hat in hand, like wanting to, hey, let's just talk and work on this. And I'm like, no problem. I have no problem sitting down with you on real issues, but I'm not going to be your best pal here. You know what I'm saying? Personally, we're not going to get along. But if you have a real issue that I need to focus on as a school board member, I'm gonna take that under advisement and look at it in an honest manner. I'm gonna forget that you called me some names and look at it honestly, because it's for the betterment of the people within the school district, right? That's the way I look at it. But at the same time, we're still not going to be pals and breaking bread on a regular basis.
Right. There's still people that you're out to serve for, and their
Right.
Opinions count too. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's called rising above, right? You rise
Right.
above the circumstance.
Well, there's one guy, he's from the district, and I'm not making fun or attacking the guy here, but he comes to the county commission meetings quite regular and the school board meetings, and he speaks quite regular. But whenever he has something to talk about on a true issue or something that he's passionate about, I'll listen to what he has to say, because he is there truly trying to represent people on a certain issue, if you will. And so I don't have a problem listening to the guy, but it's like we're still not going to be best pals, if you will.
Yeah, so he never really kind of come back and say, hey, was campaigning, I was a little ugly, and I'm sorry for that.
No, we kind of had a little quasi burying of the hatchet, sort of, but this has been years of stuff going on. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things like a lot to atone for. It's best basically to say, we're going to move on. I'm going to represent you honestly and equally as if I represent anybody else. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say just because you ran against me that I'm not going to listen to you or not represent you. That would be wrong.
When I was a kid, we used to have neighbor kids that we fought with. Then we'd be friends with them. Then we'd fight with them. Then we were friends with them.
Right.
I remember one time we were all sitting there, and one of my friends says, oh, that's Eddie's house. I hate that SOB. And somebody looks at him, don't you forget you made friends again. Boy,
friends.
That's about how it goes, isn't it? You try to make nice, but deep down inside, if you feel the way you feel, that's how you feel.
Right. Or you go to somebody's house and it's like they have a feud with the kids down the street, and it's like you have to have the feud with them too because you're at their house or something. It's like, wait a minute, why am I feuding with them? Well, you're over here, so you got to be a part of it, right?
Oh yeah, that guilty by association thing, right?
Right. It's like, man, I don't want to go be a part of it because I'm in class with this other guy. I don't want to alienate him. We get along. It's like, no, you're over here. We'll go get him or whatever. It's so stupid. And most time it's just pranks anyway. Not real fighting, but
yeah, people have conflict of personalities and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but little pranks on one that's fun.
You just know who your friends are when you stand up for them, because people are going to beat them up, and you're like standing up for them. And when you say, ain't that right? You turn around looking, he's beating feet. You're standing there alone. Suddenly you realize, man, I'm a better friend than he is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Or I've seen that where a guy, this is years ago, I forget how old, probably early 20s or something, at some bar, club, whatever. And a guy I'm hanging out with, it's a larger group, if you will, and people I went to high school with. I was just coming back from the Army, and we went out to some place, and this guy's getting in a fight, starting a fight, and he's like wanting everybody to help him out. But he ran and got in a car and hid, and like everybody's in some sort of fight. Like, wait a minute, it was just your fight, not everybody else.
Was he the instigator by any chance?
Kind of. He had, I guess, he had quote unquote beef with somebody going back years or whatever. And it's like, why are we supposed to be a part of this?
Yeah, I'm the one with the black guy. You ran away.
Get out of here. I'm not gonna stand here and fight somebody because you've had a long feud and now you ran away from the guy, and hid in the car. It's like, come on.
Oh man.
Anyway, both groups made fun of him. It's like, here we go. Look at it. We went to the car and made fun of him and laughed at him, and everybody went on their business, on their way.
So speaking of having friends and making nice and feuding and all this sorts of stuff, what do you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump's fallout? What are you making of this?
My thing is why did she resign? What caused her to resign? Like almost immediately, like boom, I'm resigning.
Well, from what she said, I mean, she pretty much called out both parties and said nobody's fixing this. She called out Donald Trump and said there's no game of 4D chess going on here. Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's doing anything to save this country. So she pretty much announced she's fed up with the uniparty system. She's fed up with the lies. She's fed up with the bullshine, and she's had enough. And if nobody's going to do anything, then she's getting out of it because she feels like she's standing alone. But so you do see an alignment between her. Sort of alignment between her, Rand Paul and Thomas Massey have all been attacked.
Of course,
because they're not on the same agenda. So we're dealing with this issue that they don't go with the party, and now they're being ousted. So she lost party support. That's what I think happened. You must have somebody there queuing you. Is she holding up the cue cards for you?
No. I was just looking. Sorry, no one's here. So
yeah, you look like you're looking off like somebody just queuing you in. No. So yeah, no. I just seen her. I just seen what she said, and she's absolutely right. The party is not working for the people anymore.
No,
both sides.
That's
Sides.
true.
Honest to God, look,
it's true.
I like the Republican Party as it is for what they're accomplishing, but at the same time, they're not doing it for your and my sake. They're not doing it for our sake. They're doing some pretty good stuff and some pretty interesting stuff. The problem is it's a bit of ugliness going on, and when the left gets it back, we are done. They're going to hammer on us so hard. It's incredible. So they're going to basically do to us what's happening to them now. They're going to be turning things around and laying into us pretty hard about things. And it's like Joe Biden coming in and knocking out of Trump's executive orders, and then Trump comes in and knocks all of his. We're just going tit for tat. It's nonsensical at this point in time. And I think that's what she saw. I think she saw that nothing's getting done in Washington, D.C. These guys would rather make videos calling out Donald Trump instead of balancing a budget. These guys would rather make videos calling people out or seeking fame or trying to bolster up their stock portfolios based on the bills they're passing. So I think she just had enough of it. Did she announce a date of resignation at a
January
same
5th,
exact time that she's going to hit the 5-year mark? So she's vested and gets her pension, or what is it?
If it's not working for you, why are you taking the money and run?
Well, common sense would say just a few more months and I'm vested. I might as well get what I can out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of
at this point, even if she was right across the board on everything, I can't take her serious because she waited to get that pension and won't finish out her term. It's like, if you really think that you're on the right track here, why would you not stay and fight against Trump or whoever, that you think's the problem instead of running away?
People lost party support, Todd, and that's the issue. She's trying to get the party involved, and the party's not getting involved. She's not leading anything, right?
No, but it doesn't matter at this point from her standpoint as far as the party support. She could ride out the rest of her time and have basically a voice, even if she's not on any committee. She could have a voice just by going to a microphone. People would listen to what she has to say.
Is she not on any committees? She didn't lose any.
I don't know if she is. Or
okay,
not,
okay. I didn't know if you were alluding to something. So no.
But I'm saying, once you announce, hey, I'm no longer going to toe the line, generally the leadership kicks you out of any committee assignments.
Well, they can't just erroneously. They can't arbitrarily do it. They got to have a reason.
They can take you off of all committee assignments. I mean, they can't take you away from being a member of Congress. Unless obviously there's a
but you have to be, that's censorship, and that has to call. There has to be a call.
But leadership can tell you that you don't have a committee assignment. You still can vote on the House floor, but you don't have committee votes or anything like that. And you have no voice in the
You're
committee.
saying Johnson can arbitrarily just say, "Hey, you know what? We decided that you're no longer."
Yeah. So the majority leader can do it, and or the speaker can do that. Yes, absolutely. There's nothing that says you have to be on a committee. So there are members of Congress.
That type of coercion, man. That's something that should be addressed. I realize they set their rules and their policy within their House or their Senate, and we don't get anything on that. They're not laws; they're just rules.
And that's what when leadership comes in. You think about this. Whenever there's leadership battles, like whenever a new Congress takes a seat, you'll see people that are loyal to one group or one person or the other. And they'll lose committee assignments because they're going to put their person in there, their people who supported them to get the majority or leadership, and they'll kick off other people that didn't support them. That happens all the time.
So I think with Green, she's fed up. She's had enough, and I guess she has no intentions on coming back. She's burning bridges. You're right.
Sure.
She's burning a bridge. Not just for the House, but she's burning a bridge anywhere she goes, because you're right. She should finish out her term. If it were me, I would not only would I finish out my term, but next year is an election year. And here's what I tell you I would do, because I think it's nonsensical that these guys are being supported by corporations. These guys are being supported by lobbyists. Big spenders are buying our members of Congress. Why are they not going and setting up their own committees within their states, the people that they represent? So you have a committee of people that are business professionals, committee of people that are medical professionals, trucking professionals, so on and so forth. So you have home state support, right? So when you're home, you have a connection with these people. You work with these people on a daily basis. They're constantly advising you. Why would you need big money to run when you already have integration with your constituent base? And this is what we're lacking in the United States, is that we have no integration. We have members of Congress that are segregated from their own constituent base, and they spend all their time in DC, and you hardly hear from them. When they go home, they're going to corporations, they're going to visit these big businesses and stuff, going, well, look at me, I threw on a hard hat, I walked the construction line, or I walked the it's like, good for you, but you really didn't connect, did you? You didn't connect with your home people.
Wait, that's basically hokey stuff so they can put on the front page of a local paper.
Yeah.
Oh, I visited this. Jobs is my number one thing. Then they go over and tour something with the sheriff's department. Law enforcement's my number one priority. Because everything's their number one priority.
Photo ops. They go for photo ops all the time.
Right.
And
Veterans is my number one priority. Whatever it is. I'm at the VA today, so that's my number one priority.
Posturing, yeah.
Right, always posturing, for sure. But you think about it, like what you talked about. But if you went back home and tried to have these coalitions, who's funding a campaign, if you will, especially in large districts, and if you're maybe not well known? I mean, who's going to fund your campaign?
Well, you would think your coalition would, right?
Right, but you think about this, your coalition at a local level. I mean, how much money do they really have available to them? Unless you're,
how much do you need to campaign when you're mingling with these people on a regular basis?
Right.
So how much money do you need because you're already locked in with these people? You're doing
like
for these people.
Somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, think about it. How many millions from elsewhere is going to come to her district to try to get her out of there? And there's people that'll vote based on, they'll see mailer after mailer and commercial after commercial that's hammering her. And people just they buy into it. People say they don't like negative campaigning, but they buy into it hook, line, and sinker every time.
How many times have I heard somebody say Zoom meetings are fine, but you don't get anything done unless you do a face-to-face?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're in there and you're with your people and you're shaking hands and you're touching these people on a regular basis, you're reaching out to these people on a regular basis, you're assuring these people you're doing what they need you to do because you're communicating with them and your work effort shows it. I think that would be a lot. So I get your point that big markets or corporations, and that's what happened to Don Bolduc. We've talked about this a lot of times. As he was outspent by Hassan. She had party support, she had corporate support, she had advertisements on television using lies and fear mongering to make Don Bolduc look like he was going to rip everybody off out of their Social Security. Fear mongering. This thing's done all the time. We hear this every 2 years about how the other candidate is going to take away your Social Security. I don't know why people believe this nonsense anymore. We hear it all the time. It's a lie, and we know it's a lie. And we've seen Don Bolduc sitting over here to my right at one point in time talking about, why would I take away your Social Security? I've actually applied for Social Security because I qualify for it. So if I'm getting it, why would I take it from you too?
Right, exactly. What's going to take away that from people is when it collapses, essentially, when the economy collapses, whenever the nation collapses, because at some point, trillions of dollars in debt's going to come due at some point, right?
It's got to. That's the thing about it, is you can't keep outspending yourself, and that was a collapse of Rome, right? Yeah. So when people lost their trust in the money, they stopped taking and using the money, and that's what Rome did. They started diluting the value of the money. They were no longer printing money with gold or precious metals. They started putting cheap metals in there,
right?
And using cheap metals. Well, it had no value. Paper currency in China, I think, collapsed 3 times when they first started introducing the concept of paper currency.
Right.
And it was first introduced in China, to my understanding. And it collapsed 3 times. Why? It had no value. It was just a piece of paper. But you know what? You walked over here with 2 chickens and a dog or whatever. And I'll sell you my cart, because I can see 2 chickens and a dog. I can see something of value. I got something here.
Right.
Paper, what am I going to do with it? Blow my nose? I mean, come on. Yeah, that's a problem. People had no trust in it. And so that's what happened to Rome. They lost their trust in the dineros, and even the soldiers didn't want to fight for Rome anymore. They're like, we're not getting paid. This is junk. This is garbage. I can dig this out of the ground. I can dig better metal out of the ground. I'll go dig copper and get better than this, And so they decided they didn't want to support Rome anymore. They didn't want to do for Rome anymore. Rome collapsed. And they had the strongest currency for 400 years. They had a world's currency.
Yeah.
I think. And it happened to England. Their monetary system collapsed in the early 1900s. So what their pound value is now used to be worth twice, I think, what it is now.
Right.
It happened to Spain. Spain had the biggest world currency. It was all silver and stuff, but they oversaturated the market with it, and they had no industry because they let their industry go. Because we're the richest nation in the world, we got all the silver. Well, guess what? You didn't invest into your country, so when you oversaturated the market with the silver, you didn't hold all the silver anymore.
Right.
Guess who collapsed? Because now you didn't produce anything. So we see this with monetary systems. When they collapse, nations collapse, and this is what happened. What is now happening to the United States? We are a collapse. We are in a downward spiral and refuse to recognize we are a dying nation.
Oh, absolutely. Well, people are distracted with, as I said, bread and circuses, right? Juvenal from Rome, right?
Oh yeah,
talked about bread and circuses. Now think about us with all the food that we have available to us. Cheap, fatty, feels good, tastes good, all that. Not good for you. I mean, at the ready, you drive down any street, you got thousands of fast food options, right? Then there's sporting events and television, there's streaming and all these things. And faces buried in, I'm holding up my phone for the listeners, but people's faces buried in screens, all the time, and no interaction, if you will. Of course, we're collapsing.
I have seen people walking across the street, their face buried in their cell phone, almost get run over by cars. It's what are you doing? It's a crosswalk, yes. Pedestrians have the right of way, yes, but you still need to look.
Yeah, move on. Let's see.
Yeah, so I mean, it's concerning to me.
Right.
It's been an issue I've been thinking about for quite some time. It's what are we really doing as a nation? That to me is the greatest concern, is the fact that we're deficit spending and accruing debt, and we're killing our country at the same time. And really, the only thing holding us together from being a collapsing nation is probably because there's not a monetary system that can replace us right now in the globe.
Right now, yeah, that's they're working on it for sure.
BRICS was a step towards that direction. It takes some time. BRICS ain't going to happen overnight, but it's a threat. I see it as a viable threat. I know we've had arguments on this show in the past about it's nothing, but that's how you lose. You start looking at someone go, well, it's nothing, but down the road when it starts to become something, you wish you would have taken it seriously earlier.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. You don't want to try to block the punch after it hits you in the face. That's ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And you think about it, what's the biggest killer for Americans now? It's obesity, heart disease, a lot of things that are preventable, and a lot of it has to do with our diets and lack of exercise, the fact that we just bury our heads in screens and do much else, right? And we talking about jobs leaving, to go overseas. It's like a lot of jobs people didn't want because it's like they were making good money, for the longest time. We don't want all these jobs. Send them overseas. We're reaping the rewards here, and now all of a sudden there's no jobs and there's no reward at this point.
Yeah, we have a lot of production in food and stuff, and the processing of food is crippling us as far as our health goes. And we're over consuming, trying to make up for nutrients we're just not getting in foods. And
right.
So it's causing
thousands and thousands of calories every day,
And we're having a sedentary lifestyle, as you described, spending time on gaming and social media or just being on the computer all the time. People do require exercise. Exercise is how you get your metabolism running and burn fat and so on and so forth. You definitely want to get that cardiovascular going.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And the numbers of people that are, because of their bad decisions, that are quote unquote disabled now. Everybody has to get a free check now. Well, I can't do it because I've got this wrong with me. I got this wrong with me. It's like, no, you should have got up and walked and exercised and stopped, eating 50 cheeseburgers a day. I'm sorry.
I've worked with people who used to say the only cure for a bad back is more work. So put your back into it. Let's get her done.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But it's true. You need to move around. If you lay around
no,
on
you
your
have
back
to.
all
You
the
can't,
time,
yeah.
it's going to stiffen up, lock up, and you're going to have problems. So they're not wrong about that. But exercise is, oh man, I'm telling you what, stretching. Stretching is a great, valuable thing. People don't really they take for granted. When stretching muscles releases toxins and creates flexibility and mobility, and it's awesome for your body. But we don't. Core strength is great. You don't have to go bulk up and be real big. In fact, it's probably not preferred.
Right. Yeah, you got the gland muscles. You can't do much with them. Obviously. Hey, so Johnny, you want to give out the call in number? I got an idea. If people want to call in and talk about what they're going to be doing this Thanksgiving, why don't we chat with some listeners out there? If you want to give out the numbers.
Yeah, if anybody wants to call in, the number should be in the description if you're on social media. But if you happen to have a pen and a piece of paper handy dandy nearby, the number here in the studio is 603 816 1590, just like the AM. You're listening to 1590 on your AM dial.
Right.
That's
There you go.
603-816-1590. We'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know what people are going to do for the Thanksgiving holiday. What are you doing, Todd?
I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I can tell you that. I don't know. Maybe go grab a bite to eat somewhere. Maybe bring something back. Nothing specifically planned. Not going to be baking or cooking a turkey. I can tell you that for sure.
No.
Not going to. Yeah. Nothing.
You ever
nothing
deep
like
fry
that.
one?
No, I've had it. I've had deep fried turkey. I've never done it
so
myself.
good. I've never deep fried it either. I've had
No.
and it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It changes it. I think. Yeah. There's something to it.
It
Crispy.
is.
You know?
Yeah. It is a different flavor, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But, yeah, I'm kind of like that guy in A Christmas Story. You know, Dad was a turkey junkie. Yeah, that's me. My eyes start growing big and stuff.
Right.
But I don't think we're going to do turkey until Saturday. My daughter's visiting her and her boyfriend went to his family's in Connecticut. So we're probably going to hold off. And besides that, the turkey froze. My wife discovered today the turkey froze. So we're going to hold off till Saturday, I think, on that and do tacos for Thanksgiving. That's something new.
There you go. That'd be cool, I guess, right? Tacos for Thanksgiving. Oh, it doesn't
Mexican
matter what
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you eat, whatever.
No, man. I love tacos. Man, Tacoma trucks tick me off. Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah, tell me more.
Letters are taco. And the last 4 letters are coma. And tacos will put you in a coma. You eat enough of them. Yeah, no.
It's Tacoma. It's Taco Ma, right?
Tacoma.
Hey, give me a taco, Ma.
That's right. There you go. That's a new
I love some tacos. So did you see that those 2 National Guard troops were shot in D.C. right near the White House?
Yeah, I heard it on the top of the hour news just before we started, and I'm thinking, what the heck? I mean, somebody just taking pot shots at the National Guard, or I mean, it is Washington D.C. I don't think some of those people are wrapped too tight, but
right.
National Guardsmen. Oh, hang on a second.
Oh, yeah, they're coming after you. Fire truck there.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a fire truck going down Main Street, folks. I hope everybody's doing okay. You'd hate to think anybody's having the worst of times during the holiday season, but yep, it was there. So maybe it's a false alarm.
All right. So yeah, here in Tennessee, and this is from Fox News, by the way, a Dem House hopeful getting yanked from governor's office during attempted sit-in goes viral ahead of election. The viral video follows other resurfaced remarks and clips causing trouble for Afton Bain or Bain. I don't know how you say that. Behn, Bain, whatever. I don't know. But the Democratic Party hopeful in Tennessee's upcoming special election, Afton Bain is going viral due to a 2019 incident when she was working as a political organizer and was forcibly removed from Governor Bill Lee's office during an attempted sit-in. Fox News says Democrat Governor Bill Lee, but he's a Republican. But some of his stuff he's done since he's been in office makes me wonder. But anyway, interesting.
All right, Todd, we have got Danny, the wolf. Not Danny. We've got the Wolfman. I confused him for Danny earlier. We got the Wolfman. Wolfman, your line is open.
How you guys doing today?
Hey, good, brother. How you doing?
Well, you want to know what we're doing for Thanksgiving? Some of us have to work through it.
Oh, where are you working at, Wolfman?
I can't say where I'm working at because it's a secure building and stuff, and we got to keep that stuff safe from all the gobbledygookers out there.
Right, yeah, the gobbledygookers out there. That's right.
Appreciate that.
So some of us have to work because we went out to a little restaurant called Tiny's over in Air, Mass, and got ourselves some turkey so we can eat our turkey dinner before we go to work.
Nice.
Air, Massachusetts. That's where I was offloading a trailer when 9/11 happened.
Ooh.
I was living in Massachusetts when 9/11 happened. I remember that clear as day.
Yeah, you never forget that. Everybody knows where they were when that happened. Holy crap.
I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing. and who I was doing it with, and never gonna forget it.
Oh, can you talk about it on the air, or is it something that you can't discuss?
Sure, we can talk about it on the air. I was actually working for Jiffy Lube, and I was working with a bunch of my friends, and we had the garage all of a sudden just it was just empty. The streets were empty, and we turned on the TV, and just in time to see the second tower get hit.
Wow, sad. So what's your favorite
so,
meal for Thanksgiving? Well, I mean, you said turkey sandwiches. What's your favorite there?
My favorite dish is the sweet potatoes.
Oh, baby, yes, sir. I love it.
But it's got to be done right. You got to mash them up. You got to put them in the oven with some marshmallows on it.
Oh,
and bake
yeah.
it.
Oh,
there you go. That's the best way.
Is that a New England thing? My wife loves sweet potatoes and yams.
Oh no,
I believe it is a New England thing. I know down south they do the boiled yams, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
is that what you do, Todd? You do the boiled yams?
I don't boil anything, my friend. Somebody else makes it, I eat it. That's what.
But you don't care as long as it's made.
Hey, somebody makes it.
So you don't know how to cook, Todd?
I can cook what I like. Pizza.
He can cook hungry. He can cook hungry man dinners like nobody's business.
Nobody's business. You got it.
he knows the drive-through like nobody.
Guys, have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you.
You too, my friend. Oh,
Bye.
that's a good call. Good call there. I love that. Yeah, I love everybody's insight on what they're doing for Thanksgiving here.
That was fun. Yeah, man. Anybody else want to call that number? 603-816-1590. Let us know what you're doing for the holidays, and it's a ringing, Todd.
Oh, good deal. Perfect. Somebody there? As John's working the call there to make sure that we have a true caller on the line. Sometimes people call during the show and prank call, and so he doesn't want to put a prank caller on the line there. But let's see what John has for us. John, what do we got?
Well, I didn't get a name, but caller, the line is open for you.
Well, hey, Todd. Hey, Todd's whole family.
There we go. Carrie Carpenter calling in. She's from where are you at? You're in Alabama right now, right? What part?
I am, and I've got my phone turned up as loud as I can, but I can't hear you very well. We are in Bessemer, Alabama.
We can hear you just fine. So, what's everybody doing there in Bessemer, Alabama for Thanksgiving weekend?
Well, right now we're eating barbecue, very traditionally.
You can't go to the South without eating barbecue.
No, that's true.
Right.
And how many animals are in the house?
Is all the big stuff.
How many animals are in the house?
Does that count children?
No. Well, could
just one dog right now.
All right, one dog's in the house, and how many kids are bumping around there?
Just two right now, but there'll be more here in just a little bit.
All right, and they get along pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, sure.
All right.
Oh yeah, we're having a great time. We've had lots of naps and fudge and Chex Mix.
Right, good deal. So by the way, John, just so you know, Carrie's the one who Carrie Carpenter here, who's on the line. She's made some of our logos for some of our special episodes, by the way.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
all
she does a lot of work for me as far as logos, anything you need. She does a hell of a job. So, and I'm trying to get her to put together a portfolio, put out a social media or website page, and maybe make a little bit of money off of it. She does a good job.
Oh, nice. So you do graphic arts?
Yes, on the side, mostly for Todd.
Yeah, for me. I come up with ideas. Yeah.
I don't think that's the way you're supposed to sell yourself now. It's not just for Todd, right? It's for the public, man. I've been doing this for years and got a lot of experience at it, and give you a fair rate on it.
Well, anybody else have any things that they want to talk about as far as Thanksgiving, what they're thankful for? Maybe Anna wants to step in and tell us what they're thankful for.
She has something. I'm thankful for Donald Trump.
Oh, right. Who else has something they're thankful for, or somebody?
I'm thankful for all the families who's coming into town from different places.
All right, good deal. So where is everybody coming from? To Bessemer, Alabama? Where are they all? What parts are they coming from?
Well, we're from Tennessee. The aunt and uncle over here they moved up to Florence, so they're almost in Tennessee.
Okay.
Missy is from the Eastern Shore of Maryland. She just flew in this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
And my nephew is coming over from Berry College. He had to stay because they made the playoffs, so he'll be here tomorrow. Auburn. Some Auburn is coming later. We have 2 that are moving from Florida to Texas right now, so they're stopping here on the way to Texas with their U-Haul.
Oh, wow. That's, I don't know if that's out of the way or not, but still, hey, might as well stop over before you make it to Texas. That's a long ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're having a good time.
Anyway, well, we're pushing in on 2026, right? 2026 coming up. I know it's a little bit too early to talk about New Year's resolutions, but why not throw out a New Year's resolution before we get to the bottom of the hour here?
Okay. Anybody have a resolution? Oh, I do. Of course, Anna's got one.
Never mind. I don't want to say that.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, no, I do. Hopefully that someone takes me to a gun range soon.
Okay.
Or hunting.
The resolution is to get to the gun range.
Teach her how to shoot.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Has she
that
been?
I like to clean the room.
I think that might have been a little hint dropped.
Right. No, she's never been to a gun range, I don't think, has she?
No. I think she's still waiting on you to take her.
Right. Well, we're going to teach her all the safety techniques, all that stuff
Right.
before you even start firing a weapon. You got to learn how to use it properly and safely. Yep. Right. There we go. Any final thoughts there, Carrie? Everybody?
Anybody else?
All right.
We're just hoping next year's going to be a lot less eventful than this one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see how that turns out.
No more shark bites.
Yeah, no more shark bite. Little Anna there got bit by a shark a few weeks ago. Little tiny shark, I think it was. So I don't know.
A little spinner or something?
I don't know how but it was. Tell us the story there, Anna.
You want to tell the story about your shark bite?
No, that's way too long. I can keep it short, Ellie. Thank you. So I was in the ocean. A wave hit me. The shark bit my foot, and I shook it off, and I walked out of the water, and then my heel was bleeding and squirting blood really bad. And then they didn't call the ambulance for about 5 minutes because they didn't know what to do, even though I was about to go into shock.
Uh-oh.
And then somebody finally got there. They wrapped up my foot. I went to the hospital. It was about 20 minutes away. And then I was in that waiting room for about 2 hours. And then they finally got me back into a room, and then they cleaned it. I passed out, and then I woke back up again, sadly. And then I got my stitches. I had 8. I should have had 9, or like 6 or 7.
6. Oh, here we go.
And then
All right.
I was on crutches for about 2 weeks, and I literally lost all the muscle in my foot. And then I can walk now.
There you go. Well, what a story there.
story.
Jaws attacked you, and you're back up and running. Good job. All right, folks. We got an open line. If anybody wants to call us at 603-816-1590, that's 1590. We got an open line. Tell us what you want to talk about, or what you're going to do for Thanksgiving, what you're thankful for, what are you going to eat, and or what are your traditions generally. Everybody doesn't celebrate the same, that's for sure.
Before we hang up, I will tell you that sweet potatoes are a big deal here, and we do not put marshmallows on them.
No.
Well, even sweet potato fries is a
nut
bigger deal.
mixture.
All right.
So how do you cook them exactly? Do you boil them? He alluded to you might boil them in the South.
Oh no.
Well, we don't actually use the potato. We use Bruce's yams, the tall cans. And there's some vanilla involved. There's 2 kinds of sugar. There's butter, and the topping has pecans and very finely crushed up with some butter and some other stuff mixed up. And so it's almost like a pecan pie on top, but with sweet potato on the bottom.
I was going to say, this was starting to sound like a dessert in the making.
Most of the things that are on our table are very dessert-ish, except for the meat. So,
right.
Lots of casseroles, delicious. And so many people that we usually have to eat in the garage. It's great.
Good deal. Good deal. All right.
So, well, you all have a happy Thanksgiving.
All right. We will appreciate you calling and telling us that. Yeah. Feel free to call in, folks, if you have a moment. Tell us about your Thanksgiving, what you're going to get into, your favorite foods, traditions, et cetera, et cetera. Any call through the second hour, no problem. Of course, Colonel Chris Wyatt is not here with us. He has an engagement tonight at his local VFW, so he has to attend to. But we're going to fill in it tonight. Hopefully, do our level best to make people not miss the Colonel this week. We'll see. Though he'll be back next week, though.
There's those that'll miss him. I mean, come on.
Oh,
He's a crowd
absolutely.
favorite.
Absolutely, for sure. Yep. So anyway, I'm just looking for some headlines here. Trying to get an update on the National Guard, folks. Let's see.
Well, we
FBI probing
have,
DC Guard.
after we did our show last week, we did have, including Maggie Goodlander, 6 people. Mark Kelly, Maggie Goodlander,
Right.
for all the names, decided that they were going to make an announcement or a video to tell members. I mean, we've all heard it. Tell members of the military that they're obligated not to follow illegal laws. I thought everybody that was introduced in the military that went through boot camp and stuff were taught this, right, Todd?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, and here's the thing: they weren't reminding you that you're obligated to not follow illegal orders. Actually, you're obligated. I mean, you're getting drilled into your head all the time. Nothing unconstitutional, nothing illegal. Somebody tells you to go shoot a prisoner, you don't do that. You're not disobeying an order. That's not a legal, lawful order. Nothing's going to happen to you. Don't go execute a prisoner. Don't go, raid somebody's house that you don't have direct orders to go into for whatever reason. I'm talking about in a combat scenario. You just don't do certain things. And also whenever you're detaining a prisoner, you don't just beat the hell out of them. You know what I'm talking about? Now, if you're trying to apprehend them, they're fighting you. It's a different situation. Put hands on them.
Combat is combat, yeah.
Whatever you got to do, they surrender. Don't put hands on them. Don't beat the hell out of them. I mean, obviously you're going to put, the required restraints on them, etc. But nothing to excess. I mean, I get it. They were combatant just a few minutes before, but they throw down the rifle and surrender, whatever. They're no longer a combatant. We follow rules, and we understand we don't follow illegal orders. We get that trained and drilled into us for sure. We didn't need members of Congress to sit there and basically wink and a nod. Hey, don't follow these orders of this guy. We understand don't follow illegal orders. Didn't need members of Congress to say it.
So what was the purpose of them saying it if military
It's a wink.
should already know?
I think it's a wink and a nod. Basically, hey, if you don't like him, don't like what's going on, whether or not you're a Republican or on the right, regardless, you don't really have to listen to this nonsense and this idiot. But here's the thing: those members of Congress, they're not going to have your back on anything. That's for sure.
Well, wait a minute.
And they can't get you out of trouble.
Maggie Goodlander said, "We just want our members in the military. No, we got your back."
No,
so
they
my
don't.
response to her on social media was, "All right. So if you got their back, what kind of advisements do you offer them, and where do you drive these advisements?" And they don't. They don't have anything to offer them for advice. They're just saying, "We got your back." That's pretty shallow.
Right. And how do you have my back? If I do get, let's say I'm saying me as just pretend I'm a member of the military, retired. Let's say I decided if I were still serving, I don't like a certain order, illegal or not, and I just say it's illegal. I unilaterally decided it's illegal, and it turns out, no, it's not illegal. I just didn't like it politically. Are you going to have my back then? No, you're not.
Because they can't. And what are they going to? I mean, these guys
are
are
illegal, and I have to go through the process. I get kicked out. I get tried, convicted, whatever the case may be. My life's pretty much ruined at that point. My career's ruined for sure. How are you going to have my back?
Exactly. They're not. That's just it.
Yeah.
We see Congress have hearings all the time. They bring people in. They waste their time doing all these congressional investigations, and what comes out of it? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. And you as an individual will have ruined your life and your career standing up for something that may or may not be illegal. And if it is illegal, 5 years down the road when President Trump's out of office, your career's ruined, your life's ruined. Oh, that thing that he disobeyed was illegal. Oh, okay, whatever. Your career's already ruined at that point.
Absolutely.
And every time
you're done, we're talking about court martial, we're talking about loss of rank, we're talking about loss of pay, we're talking about dishonorable discharge, loss of retirement. It depends on your circumstance, but it could be nasty for these guys. It's nothing to be taken lighthearted at all.
Right. And right. You're absolutely correct. But every time there's been a court case, Supreme Court had a ruling against President Trump to include his first term, he's always stood down if they ruled against him. And then that's a fact. So to say he's out there throwing out illegal orders, if something is illegal or unconstitutional, once it's ruled, hey, he stopped every time.
He has, but I think we're getting activist judges involved here, Todd.
Sure.
I don't think these are legitimate rulings. We've covered this before with Title 10 USC Section 253, where the president may use the militia, the armed forces, or both by any other means necessary.
Right.
And they're talking about basically bringing law and order back into effect in this particular U.S. Title Code. And so if he's got these boundaries, if he's got these abilities, this law that gives him the power to use the National Guard, and we've seen it in the past. We've used the National Guard so many times in the past, but for some reason, when Donald Trump says, "Hey, I'm going to protect federal land" during 2020 riots, he was called a bad guy. He wasn't using them in the streets; he was using them just to protect, courthouses and things like that. He was a bad guy.
Yeah, so they couldn't do billions of dollars worth of damage. But anyway.
Yeah, it's time for the top of the hour, folks. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after the top of the hour news. Don't go nowhere.
WSMN 1590, WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at wsmn.live.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Dave Packer. 2 National Guard members in critical condition shot about 1 block from the White House in what sources say the FBI is calling a potential act of international terrorism. The armed West Virginia National Guard members, a man and a woman deployed under President Trump's crackdown on crime in D.C., Metropolitan Police Assistant Chief Jeffrey Carroll.
It appears, like I said, to be a lone gunman that raised a firearm and ambushed these members of the National Guard, and he was quickly taken into custody by other National Guard members and law enforcement.
Authorities say the suspect was shot and wounded, the ID not yet released. Vice President J.D. Vance telling troops at Fort Campbell.
It's a somber reminder that soldiers, whether they're active duty, reserve, or National Guard, our soldiers are the sword and the shield of the United States of America.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says President Trump has asked him to send another 500 guardsmen to Washington, D.C. This is ABC News. Hong Kong leader John Lee says 36 people were killed in the fire that spread through a high-rise residential complex, with another 279 people reported missing.
This is a huge housing complex of some 2,000 apartments. More than 4,000 people live there, and the bamboo scaffolding on one of the 31-story tower blocks looks to have caught fire and is causing the fire to spread.
ABC's James Longman. Officials in Chicago questioning the electronic monitoring system after a woman was set on fire while riding a commuter train. The suspect, Lawrence Reed, had been arrested 72 times before and was supposed to be on an electronic monitor.
Court documents seen by our Chicago station, WLS, reveal that Reed violated his curfew several times in the days before the attack. And on November 17th, an alert went out that he had violated his curfew, but hours later, he allegedly carried out that attack on the train. A judge overseeing the electronic monitoring program says, "We're reviewing all actions taken in this case to ensure procedures were followed."
Dave Packer, ABC News.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
The only thing we have to say is one small step for man.
And the Boston Red Sox.
This is WSMN's Life for Today for November 25th. Happening on this day in 1961, the first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise, is commissioned. And in 1963, John F. Kennedy is laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery. Born on this day in 1914, Joe DiMaggio. In 1919, Andrew Carnegie. Dying on this day in 1998, comedian Flip Wilson at 64. And in 2016, Fidel Castro. He was 90. Scents and peppermints, the color of and finally, on this day, in 1867, Incense and Peppermints by Strawberry Alarm Clock, it's number 1. That's WSMN's Life for Today for November 25th. I'm Phil Kincaid.
Little to win, but nothing to lose.
Hi, Nashua. I'm Perry Cataldo from Choice Benefit Services, your local insurance agent that has dedicated himself to all the Medicare plans in New Hampshire. Whether you're just turning 65, new to Medicare, or already have a plan, I'll explain all your Medicare options and extra benefits that you hear so much about. I ensure you're getting all you're entitled to and all that you deserve. Nashua, don't get fooled again this year. Call Perry Cataldo at 603-461-5550. That's 603-461-5550. Or visit me online at cbsnh.com. That's cbsnh.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, health is wealth.
Continuing the legacy started in 1904, Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument Incorporated continues to provide the same high-quality monument, custom headstone, and stoneworking craftsmanship today that they built their reputation on over 100 years ago, servicing Nashua, New Hampshire, as well as nearby areas in Massachusetts, such as Lowell, Billerica, Chelmsford, and beyond. From creating custom monuments to memorialize, to landscaping and granite work or restorative services, each job is done to your satisfaction and is backed by decades of experience and integrity. If you're thinking about stonework, think Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument. Visit online at gatecitymonument.com. Stop by and meet Roger at 321 West Hollis Street in Nashua, or call 603-883-7141. That's 603-883-7141. Gate City Monument, memorials of distinction for people who care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, you're listening to Common Sense Conservatives right here at WSM on your 1590 on your AM dial and 95.3 on your FM dial, or you can listen to us at wsmn.live if you're at home or heading into the house. You can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube under the Truckers Independent Broadcasting Network, or TIBN, and also Facebook underneath the Common Sense Conservatives if you want to get into the chat and talk a little bit and join the conversation. Todd, we were talking a little bit about Maggie and company and their foolishness with the video and trying to undermine the president, and to the point the FBI decided to investigate them, determine if there was any wrongdoing. Honestly, I don't think there was. There's nothing illegal or wrong about saying, hey, guys, just a reminder, the law is, but yet they want to make sure maybe they weren't misspoken, I guess. I'm not sure exactly. So I think it was Slotsky, I think that's her name, Representative Slotsky, made a statement about, well, that's why we did it, you see, because now we're going to show how Trump's weaponized. It's like, all they're doing is just looking into it, guys. They're not arresting you. They're not weaponizing the government against you. But now that's their claim, so they're just trying to benefit off the action, I think.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. They're like, well, maybe we did something wrong here that we shouldn't have done as members of Congress, but now we got to flip it back on Trump and make him the bad guy because the FBI is investigating. See, he's weaponized the FBI.
We saw seen all the lawfare for over 4 years, and now Trump's weaponizing the FBI. This is an outrage. The illegal president. Well, we mean illegal? Was he illegal but migrant? What's going on?
You call for violence or something, and then all of a sudden they investigate. You're like, wait a minute, he's weaponizing the FBI. It's like, no, you're calling for violence. Although they didn't in this instance, mind you. But I'm just saying, he's weaponizing the FBI. No, they're doing their job investigating you because you did something that no member of Congress should be doing. Why do you need to remind anyone what UCMJ or what the law allows for? I'm sorry, you didn't need to do that. There was a reason behind it. They wanted to basically allow for people in the military to disrupt, the regular proceedings of government, if you will, to undermine President Trump and create a headache for him. I think that's their intent here was to do that.
Yeah, they're trying to make them look bad. They're trying to hold them in a negative light, and it's them that looks bad. I mean, we're sitting there, we're talking about an unbalanced budget. We're talking about deficit spending. We're talking about a national debt that's just outrage. I want to talk about outrage. That's outrage. Okay. Right. And they don't want to do their jobs. They'd rather make stupid videos.
Right. Absolutely. And you think about this, what's going to happen is whenever you have that young E3, E4, E2 decide he's just going to just be the thorn in the side. He's 18, 19, whatever. He just wants to be a thorn in the side. His brain's still developing, for crying out loud. He's not reached 25 yet. So he's just like, I'm just going to be a thorn in the side. To heck with this. I got these members of Congress on my back, and that sergeant and that lieutenant, I don't like them. They keep telling me what to do. I'm just going to shirk my duties and then claim, oh, that was an illegal order, and it's going to create chaos at the lower level that we don't need. I can see it happening.
Absolutely. That's
I've dealt with a lot of soldiers in my time, and some of the younger troops, man, they just want to be a thorn in your side just to test how far they can go. And they'll cite UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, all day long. Well, I can do this. Technically, I can do this. And it's like, or I can also have somebody beat the hell out of you in about 2 seconds if you don't straighten up.
No, we don't beat the hell out of people, right?
No, of course
100
not.
push-ups
No.
now. Yeah. Or you find yourself suddenly stationed in northern Alaska next to the Arctic Circle.
But basically people like that, these thorns in the side, they undermine good order and discipline in your unit, in your platoon, in your company, or whatever. And it's not Donald Trump that's going to suffer. It's your military readiness that's going to suffer in the grand scheme if enough people take them up on this ridiculousness.
The left has proven that they don't have any respect for the military when they start letting men wear dresses and carry on like they're women and stuff. And
right.
Lipstick and dresses just don't work in the military.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And then whenever you talk about sending, these trans or whatever people to overseas, it's like, I can't. I gotta have my medical treatment here. It's like now you're not ready to deploy. You're signed up to do a job that may send you in harm's way or send you somewhere around the world and in short notice. I mean, in some cases, I can't do it because I have my treatments and all this. Well, you shouldn't be joining the military to get treatments like that anyway. I'm talking about trans people. Sorry.
Right, it's not there for a free ride. It's
no.
You're there to do a job, fulfill your job. There's benefits
Right.
for doing the job, but do the job.
And people who suffer from mental illness, there's a way to get you out of the military, and it won't ruin your life and your post-military career at all. There's a way to get you out where it's not going to follow you in a negative light. Whereas if you committed a crime and get kicked out that way, that's going to follow you for sure.
Back in the day, wearing a dress was an attempt to get out of the military. Now
Right.
it used to be a joke. Everybody
MASH,
knew who Finger was.
a major side. Well, I don't say a major, but major recurring character. Klinger, right? Jamie Farr and MASH.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it was great, man. He played that part well.
Oh, absolutely. But from what Toledo Mud Hens is something like that. You love Toledo.
I don't recall that part. I just remember his character. I remember a lot of people from the TV series and stuff. And he was looking for that discharge and couldn't get it. They knew what he was up to all the time, right?
Right.
So that was the running joke, and he was committed to it. He wasn't going to give it up.
Right. Yeah, it's just a running gag the whole time. Nowadays, if you try to do something like that in a TV show, you get boycotted and shut down. You know?
You'd be like Roseanne Barr.
But it's funny as back then, like you got to think that the most of the cast of MASH were probably based on the time, probably liberal Democrats of their day. I'm certainly not leftist compared to today, but they were probably liberal Democrats, and they were making fun of this just because it was funny. They weren't going after people who were truly suffering, gender dysmorphia or something like that. They were just making a joke of somebody who's trying to get a Section 8, and people did that in the military going back since time in memoriam, for crying out loud. People try to get out of the military.
Shoot
it happens.
Themselves in the foot, or dumb stuff like that.
Absolutely, people do stupid stuff to try to get out, whatever, and that's just one of the things people did back then. So anyway,
well, now they embrace it, or they did under the Biden administration, and
when
Trump came along and brought some common sense back to us, like, come on, guys, you're making a mockery out of our military. Stop.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, wow.
Here we go. And I think that's the thing about it, as he pointed out. He says, we had no respect in the globe, and we're regaining that now. And in fact, he said that when he met with Mamandi. Mamandi. Mamdani, yeah. I can almost say his name. Anyway, he met with him, which was an interesting occurrence. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but
the
way they were talking about it there, the news, the conference at the end and stuff is like seem awfully aligned there to each other for people that didn't have any alignment.
But it's funny as how he's like, oh, I can work with him. He's going to do good things, going to do great, all this stuff. It's like, I thought this guy hated you going into this meeting, called you the worst thing ever. But it's like, oh, I can work with him. I can do this. And I get it. Trump's going to have to work with him. I mean, he's the mayor, arguably, of the most important city in the country, arguably, right? I mean, especially an important city, whether it's the most important, but it is an important city in our nation. He's going to have to work with him. He's the most visible mayor probably in the country, maybe even in the world, the New York City mayor, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I think they found some mutual ground anyway. I mean, I'm sure there are some issues going on in New York City that need to be addressed, and I'm sure Trump wants to help address some of those issues.
Sure.
It just sounds kind of funny because this guy is basically borderline communist. He calls himself a Democrat socialist and talking about all these things about how New York City was going to own the grocery stores and all these things, and calling Trump a fascist. And I loved it when the reporter called him out on that. It says, "Oh, you were calling Trump a fascist before." The guy didn't know how to answer. Trump just like pats him on the back. He says, "Just answer the question. Just tell him it's easier."
Right. Yeah. I love that. Trump a little self-deprecating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Mom Dottie knew how to handle that. He's like, yeah, just go ahead, tell him it's all good.
Yeah, that's Trump though. That's that was an indicator that those two had a conversation that was probably went in Trump's favor.
Right.
And so Trump, we've discussed this in the past, like say darn it, now I can't think of his name there in Florida governor. I can't.
Right.
Ron DeSantis. He was, man, they were going at it during the election. And as soon as Ron DeSantis decided, you know what, I'm done. I'm bowing out of this election and made his announcement. Trump's like, yeah, he's no longer just sanctimonious. Me and Ron were fine now, best of buds. And he's like that. If you go against him and you want to lock horns with him, well, you're going to find a formidable foe. He's going to lock horns. He's going to show you who's boss. When it's all said and done, the dust settles. He's like, all right, come on, let's go. Well, he doesn't.
Well, what's sad is that the sycophants in the scenario, who will, Trump will be right no matter what, even though he's wrong in many circumstances. It's like, let's don't be sycophantic for anybody. If somebody's wrong, let's call them out on it. And a lot of times these people will just roll over and be like, scratch my belly, even though I was right.
Yeah, some people like their yes men. And
I
don't know how that works for Donald Trump, but
I mean, a lot of times we don't get the best people in offices. That's pretty much all I'll say on that one. I mean, that's true. I mean, anybody who wants a yes man or somebody to tell you what you want to hear. You think about it. Yeah, I hate to hesitate to use this as an example, but any dictators, any nation that's ever led by a dictator, nobody tells a dictator no, even though whenever they need to be told no. Like Napoleon going into Russia in the middle of the wintertime, or Nazi Germany, like probably shouldn't go in there without being prepared. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right. You got two soldiers looking at it going, we're going to die in there, right? Yeah, but I'm not going to be the one to tell them.
We're going to roll right over them. No problem. Hey, can we strategically withdraw? No withdrawals, no retreats. Everybody dies. So nobody wants to tell them no. Hey, this attack's not working. People don't want to tell the leader no, which I think is sad.
Yeah, I think that example you used, didn't the Russians invite them in and keep them company until winter rolled around and then did it to them?
Right.
See, they had them beat in the winter, and so they kind of waited it out.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think all these armies invaded. They think, we're invading in the summertime. And it's like, yeah, by the time you get deep into Russia, that's several months, that you slogged. Now, all of a sudden you're pushing wintertime, and now you've been cut off from your supply train. What about your winter gear? You're going to have that? No, that's not important, because at this point it's fuel, it's ammo, it's all the other things that you need to fight a war. And it's all the creature comforts that a soldier needs to stay warm and survive. They don't have that.
They didn't plan for it at all. In fact, I think from my understanding of that history, they use like brass buttons, a fragile type of metal that was breaking because it was so cold. It wouldn't keep their jackets shut anymore and stuff. And they were just, it was bad.
Right. Absolutely. And no plan to send, warm gear. It's like, it'll be done by summertime, a few months, because they looked at Poland. I say Nazi Germany. They looked at Poland and how quickly they ran through them like a hot knife through butter. And it's like, but the Soviets have nowhere else to fall back to. They have nothing else. Plus, Poland was fighting, the Russians and Germany, at the same time on both sides.
Yeah.
So they had no chance. They were fighting, modern tanks with basically small World War I tanks and some horses. That's about it. No chance. I mean, against Nazi armor for sure.
Yeah, they got pinched.
Yeah, but once Russia pulled Nazi Germany further into the Soviet territory, it was pretty much done for them at that point. And of course, nobody wanted to tell Hitler no. And I'm not comparing Donald Trump to Hitler. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying any leader should be able to have somebody there that can tell them no, and here's why. And any good leader will look at it and say, yeah, you're right on that circumstance. I'm going to make a change on that, and be able to articulate why you're making a change. No problem. And nobody should beat you up on that if you make an informed decision in the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The sad part is you have so many people that are uninformed, the uninformed electorate that are out there. Not everybody, but a lot of them that'll just beat you up on everything. It's like, why didn't he do this and this and this? But there's scenario-driven decisions you have to make at points as a leader. You may promise something going in, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Scenario driven on the ground, you can't do X, Y, Z. You got to do A, B, and C. And you articulate why you had to make a change. And I think that's what being a leader is all about. But not looking to people that won't tell you no is not a good leader, I don't think.
Now, we talking about military? You talking about
just in general?
Yeah.
Public elected official, military. You're in charge of an organization, whatever. You should have people that can tell you no. And I'm not telling you no. If you have the right to tell them to do something or whatever. But if it's as long as it's moral, ethical, legal, etc., you should be able to tell somebody to do something. They should be able to give you an answer, say, hey, that's not going to work based on the scenario on the ground, or historical data says this is not a good decision. How about we do it this way? Be able to take that advice from your subordinates, I think, is important as a good leader.
Well, the thing of it is, okay, let's take the president, for example. He delegates, right? You're going to put somebody's going to head the FBI, somebody's going to head DHS,
absolutely,
somebody's going to head Secretary of Transportation, right?
But those leaders should be able to come back
to
the
delegating
president.
them. So these are leaders among you. When you delegate it to them, let them do their job. All you need to know is progress. Where are we at? How are things coming along? Things like that.
Right.
If you're trying to micromanage the people you delegated, you're going to have a collapse in your structure. And I think that's where Obama was failing, because I think he did a lot of micromanaging within his administration.
Right.
I think Donald Trump delegates. I think Donald Trump allows them to do their jobs. I don't think he's riding their hindquarters all the time. He has his meetings and stuff like that. He's going to get his updates. He wants to know where they stand. He might give them a little direction, like, I kind of wish we would go this direction or something like that. But all in all, I don't think he's micromanaging. I think where Donald Trump is weakest is he attacks. So like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she didn't agree with him, so now he jumped all over like he does. Or Rand Paul, he doesn't like Rand Paul because Rand Paul doesn't agree with him, so he attacks Rand Paul. Thomas Massey, he's moving to replace Thomas Massey. I don't think that's a good strategy on his part. You've got some good people in Congress, and just because they don't agree with you, I don't think you should be trying to ostracize them. And because now what you're doing is you're creating a groupthink process, where if you don't agree with me, then you're not part of the group. The party's not meant to be just the president. The party's meant to be, although they call the president the head of the party at times.
They are the titular head of the party. They are.
Yeah, more or less. But just the same, congressional member, and this is where Marjorie Taylor Greene,
or maybe not.
Correct.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said titular head. Maybe not titular head, but they are the head because they are the president, for crying out loud. The titular head would be the RNC chair. But anyway, besides
exactly. So they the left always refers to the president as the not the leader, but the leader of the party,
right? And when the Democrats
party or something like that.
But when the Democrats have the presidency, it's the same thing. They're ahead of their party, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but the thing with Greene, what was I saying here is she made a statement about she should have a right to serve her constituents. She shouldn't have to serve the party. And
right.
She was exactly right when she said that. She was exactly right about what she said in that. She shouldn't be there to serve the party, because this, again, creates that whole groupthink process. If you're not doing for the party, we're not going to support you. And, this is how a country gets driven in the wrong directions. This is how other people in these think tanks, like, say, Heritage Foundation, all these other think tanks come together and they create this agenda.
Right.
And they're controlling our elected officials in the party by not backing those elected officials who are trying to serve their constituents. And that's exactly what she said. Her best interest is to serve her constituents, but the party's interfering with that. And I'm agreeing to that. You know, and I line her up with darn it, I wish her name would come to me, out of Arizona, Cinema.
Right, yeah, Kristen Cinema, yeah.
The party ostracized her because
Sure.
they wanted her to vote again with them against the filibuster, to get rid of the filibuster, and she wouldn't do it. So they ostracized her, they defunded her, and basically ran her out of the party and replaced
Right.
her. That's not a good look, and that's not, you know, that's not good for this country, because now you got a bunch of constituents that had a disservice by their very own party those idiots are supporting. And you take that either way, you know, because I
Right.
said idiots are supporting. Yeah, Democrats were idiots for supporting a party that doesn't look out for their best interest. But you know what? Marjorie Taylor Greene's making the same claim over here, and I got to back her on it. You
Right.
know, she's not wrong. So
No,
this has
not wrong. Not
this has
wrong at
been an
all.
ongoing problem.
No, I get you there. But here's the thing, you know, you get the everyday people that, you know, I always talk about this, that need to step up and realize that they're not being represented in Washington. They're not being represented in their state capitals, for crying out loud. Especially whenever you get a candidate who's got mountains of money behind them, especially money that didn't come from their home district. They're not representing you as the individual, you know. But and to want to run these types of people out of office because, well, they don't support Trump. It's like, well, we support Trump based on issues. I think if Trump's wrong, we should be able to call him out and say that he's wrong on an issue.
Yes. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as an elected representative, you're not there to represent Trump and his agenda or the party agenda. You're representing people that live in a geographic location, for crying out loud, or a state. You know what I'm saying? A district or
Yeah.
a state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not party and not, you know, the agenda of whoever happens to be in the White House just because you share the same party. Now, if their agenda aligns with yours and the people you represent, that's perfectly fine. And in many cases, that will be the case. But you will find instances where that may not be the case in every instance. And you should be able to differ in those moments without being, you know, a difficult person or being ostracized. And that's what we have nowadays. Oh, they disagreed with me on that one issue. We needed to ostracize them and spend millions of dollars to get somebody else elected, wasting money. You know, and at the end of the day, you elect somebody who can end up turning on you anyway, or disagree with you down the road. And now you got to spend $7-8 million to kick them out of office. It's an endless cycle.
So are you seeing an increase in hostilities in DC? I mean, there was always hostilities, okay? You can go back way back in the day, you know, the 80s and 70s and stuff. There's always going to be hostilities at the Capitol building with
Right.
congressmen towards each other, hostilities within the party, infighting. But has it increased, do you think, significantly since over the last, say, 10, 15 years?
I don't know. I think we see more of it because of social media, but at the same time, I think people are emboldened because they realize nobody, especially if you have position of power and authority, no one's going to really come after you unless you commit a heinous crime. No one's really going to come after you, and if they do, you can always be like, "Oh, they're targeting me because it's political," you know. So people are emboldened to do more, I think, and push the envelope a little bit these days. You know, talking about elected officials, and of course, what happens is the citizenry follows that. It's like, well, if they're emboldened to say this and do this, well, I can go a little bit further and do a little bit more. You know, and I don't have to worry about being even remotely civil like a member of Congress has to do at times. Pretend to be civil. Member of society, they don't have to be. They can be the most vulgar and evil and vile that they want to be, and they have every quote unquote right to do that, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think some people,
I agree with the social media. There's been a lot more
right,
hostilities from civilized society, if you want to call it civilized. But yeah, some of the things that are said on social media and the way they go at it with each other, they could tone it down a little bit or become a little bit more respectable to each
right.
other. You know,
Because
discussions are one thing, but you know, again, ad hominems and things like that.
because yeah, right here in my home county, Sullivan County, Tennessee, we have a few the Republicans that are doing just that. You know, they think that being a firebrand by lying about people, by doing whisper campaigns, you know, misleading the public and being outraged whenever they want something their way is being a leader or being an effective elected official. You're not being effective at all. You're ostracizing people and you're making people pretty upset. And we're having that going on in our county, by the way, and it's only heating up now that 2026 is an election year. But you know, we have Republicans that do the same thing, and it's childish. And they feel that they don't have to actually go out and talk about real issues, you know, or talk about the behind the scenes, you know, facts, if you will. They can go out and just mislead people and get them outraged. they'll never look into anything. If you outrage them, spin them up, and tell them that somebody else is the problem, well, now I've distracted you. You're going to focus on somebody else being the problem, not looking at what I'm doing.
What you're referring to is called emotional appeal.
Right.
So if I can appeal to your sense of emotions and get you riled up and angry and frustrated at this guy, you won't be paying attention to me and the crap I'm pulling.
Exactly. Right. It's smoke and mirrors, if you will, and another way of saying it. But we also have people, and of course, being in the Bible Belt, we have people that do it from a religious standpoint. They claim the mantle of the quote good Christian. And what I mean by that is they're going to let everybody know how good of a Christian they are. Anybody talks about them is going to let them know this so and so is a good Christian. All this stuff. So they claim that mantle of the high ground of the good Christian. Now Jesus is on my side, so now I can level attacks at anybody I want. But you can't come back at me because I'm the good Christian. Jesus is on my side. And people kind of look at that and say, well, so-and-so is a good Christian. Why is this person attacking them? Well, first off, they established themselves as a quote good Christian in the campaign. They leveled the attacks. This person's merely responding. You didn't see that because you claim that this person is the good Christian in the race, and therefore they're infallible in your eyes. They've snowed you. And that happens in the Bible Belt on a I don't know, on a mass scale. It's dangerous.
I don't like that. I've seen that before.
Dangerous.
People appeal to people's religious beliefs and stuff.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
right. They do just that. And it's disarming them is what they're
Yeah.
doing. They're trying to disarm their potential constituents so that they'll, or just people in general, people in cells might do it and stuff like that. And it's just
Yeah.
disarming your person you're working with or people you're working with. So they see you in a better light than you actually hold yourself.
Yeah, and I know candidates that sent out like a lot of mailers that just appealed to people's religious beliefs or whatever. And I had people, and I was at different events. This was several years ago, and people talk about that particular candidate, and it's like, oh, they're such a good candidate and a good Christian. I'm voting for them. It's like, hold on a minute, why are you voting for them? Oh, have you seen the mailer they sent out? I've seen the mailer. What else do you know about this candidate? Do you know about this, and all these issues? All the past legal issues, and have you heard about all these things that they've said about people? No, I haven't seen any of that, but this mailer, it looks really good. They wouldn't send that out. I think they're authentic. It's like that one mailer has got you locked in to vote for this person whenever the election is not for another several months away. And it's like people lock themselves in that way, and they won't look for any other candidate. It's a mentality. I don't know.
You do have to weigh your options, and you do.
Right, that's what I'm saying. People got to weigh the options.
You always got to question people. Always question authority. Always question people and their intentions. Yeah, some of the best people in the world. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I have a mother. I love my mom.
Right.
But she would always gravitate to the worst of people. And I've seen people do this. The scam artists are the best talkers. The scam artists are the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Sure.
And they know
They
how
would
to
tell you,
be a
"Oh, yeah,
chameleon,
manipulate."
man. So you'll get these guys are very observant. If you got a little tick, like say you put your hand to your brow a lot or something, they will mimic that simply because it creates familiarity with you.
Right. They're mirroring your
yes,
movements,
they
right?
mirror you, and if they mirror you, then you'll feel a sense of familiarity with them and begin to like them.
Yeah.
And so they use that against you. And car salesmen are the best at this. I
Oh,
mean, that's just
absolutely.
car salesmen, but salesmen in general, or people that got an agenda. They're going to use these sorts of techniques.
Yeah. Like a car salesman. You drive in a car that you're looking to trade. They'll tell you about the car that they had, the same exact one, and they'll tell you about all the problems that they had about the. Oh, it's your car's 7, 8 years old. Oh, that's whenever I started having issues with mine. Oh, here's the problem, and they kind of talk you into the. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start having problems with my car. I got to get rid of it because the car salesman told me, this is about the time they're gonna start having issues. So people end up getting rid of their car when they don't really need to.
Yeah, I think a lot of places got gravitated away from the high pitched sales and stuff because it becomes such common knowledge that they realize, man, we gotta lay off.
Yeah, and they became characters of themselves, if you will.
I think that movie. There was a movie called Used Cars way back in the day, back in the early '80s. I think had Kurt Russell in it. I don't know if you remember or not.
I think so.
It was a funny movie, man. It was funny. And he said you don't have because they're trying because the owner died, but they didn't want anybody to know he died because they're trying to keep the car a lot. And so now everybody had to become a salesman because they had to move cars fast. And he's like, you don't have to sell a car. All you gotta do is get some themselves, get their butt in the seat, and it will sell itself. And that's pretty much it, man. You're there to buy a car. It's just a matter of figuring out which one you want.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but the different tactics that they'll use, to try to upsell you or whatever, Yeah. I'm good. I know what I want. I'm good. So
My wife likes to tell you about the time she went into a car lot to buy a car, and they told her that they'd even throw in the gas tank.
oh, they gave you a gas tank and
Yeah.
everything.
She thought it was funny. She's like, "What are you, ridiculous? Car ain't going anywhere without a gas tank." Even I know
Yeah.
that.
They gave you four tires and some wheels with it. You know.
Yeah, I don't know how bad I avoid car salesmen as a rule, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like to go to major car lots. I like to go to smaller car lots because they're more
Yeah.
realistic, they're more down to earth, and the major ones I don't want to deal with their nonsense and that whole thing about, well, there's a $500 processing fee and it's unavoidable. It's like, yeah, take your processing fee and stick it, right? The little
Right.
guy over here is in charge of me $500 just to run a little bit of paperwork around.
Right. Yeah. The used car dealership down the road is going to sell me basically the same car, a couple years older for almost half the price, and there's no big $500 processing fee. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know.
a bunch of nonsense. I just don't like to deal with it, so I just don't go.
Yeah, I got out of getting new cars. I mean, I used to trade every few years when I was much younger, and of course, you get to the point where you're upside down. It's like, man, this car or truck's not worth what I'm paying for. Forget it. But
No, that's the thing. I had one guy try to tell me, he says, because he had older cars. I'm like, wow, these cars, yeah, they're not very much money. I mean, $2,500, $3,000, but they're all junk, bro. He goes, well,
Right.
you're not buying a car, you're buying credit. And I go, credit ain't going to get me from point A to point B. So I'm going
Right.
to think about another option here.
Yeah, don't try to be philosophical here, my friend. Whenever we're talking about dollars and cents, I'm sorry. The bottom line is the bottom line.
Right? Yeah,
You
you're
know?
trying to buy credit. Yeah, I don't give a crap about
No,
credit.
that's
I want wheels.
right. Yeah. I remember one year I went to trade, and it was yeah, I got there. It was later in the evening, but they were still open, probably another 30, 45 minutes or whatever. And all the salesmen, I saw them up, and they were all like huddled in. They were closing up shop. They're all about to leave, and this one guy was like, went out there. He's like, he came out and started talking to me, and he's like, about 20 minutes into it, I was like, yeah, this is what I want. This is the vehicle I want. I want to do the trade, whatever. And mind you, they were closing up shop, and I had to come back the next day, finalize everything. And he was telling me like, yeah, all those guys that were up there were like, yeah, you didn't look like a buyer. You're not serious. And they're like, yeah, he's like, well, I'm the one laughing to the bank today because they're like, they feel like they're stupid. I'm like, you're absolutely right. Never assume somebody's not going to buy something just because they're a younger person, older, or whatever the case may be. Maybe look like they can't afford it because they may very well be able to buy the entire car lot for crying out loud.
Yeah, you never know. There was a guy one time telling me he was in Arkansas. He's at a Walmart distribution
Yeah.
center. And he's sitting there. They couldn't unload him because they had computers went down or something. He was sitting there on the steps wondering what he's going to do with the rest of his day because he's not getting unloaded. This old crappy pickup truck comes pulling up next to him, and old man jumps out wearing coveralls and stuff. He's like, "Hey, how y'all doing today?" He's like, "Well, I guess I'm not doing so well. I'm not getting unloaded." He goes, "You're not getting unloaded. We'll see about that." Well, he goes inside, comes back out, and he said, "Well, I'm sorry, man. There's nothing I can do to help you out. But hey, you know what? My name's Sam Walton, and it turns out it's the owner of Walmart, for Christ's sake. Drove up in like a old beat up pickup truck and covered in coveralls and stuff. You'd have never known. You'd have never thought it was the owner of Walmart.
Yeah.
So you never know who you're gonna meet.
Yeah.
Now
Now Walmart sells a bunch of Chinese crap, and then also they have some of these sections over there. They got sex toys right on the shelves there in Walmart. Like sick.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So they took all my ammo and my guns down, and they put up sex toys in place.
Right, and it's like, oh, adult massager or whatever. It's like right on full display. You go to Walmart, take a look.
Actually, to be honest with you, I stay away from Walmart. I absolutely have to have something to go into Walmart.
Yeah, I
have
don't go in there,
desire
but
to be there.
I've been in there a few times. Of course, look at their website too, right on their website. Like, but my thing is like it's supposed to be a family oriented organization when it started out.
Yeah.
And now you look at it, it's like, yeah, not so much, right?
So they got a head shop out back. You get all your paraphernalia,
right, yeah,
adult movies and stuff, and
yeah, just come on now. I mean, I'm not saying that there may be a place for that type of stuff, but not at a Walmart. I'm sorry.
No, that's the thing about it. It's kind of like doing podcasting and stuff. Sure, you can go on the internet, you can swear and curse up a storm on the internet.
Sure.
But I do podcasting with Billy. We had the America Talk show up. That one's down right now. Did a trucking show with Sean for a long time, and we always made a point that we're not going to swear and curse on our shows. Now
Right.
here we're doing terrestrial radio, so we're going to swear and curse. It's just if I'm going to do something that I'm trying to appeal to the public, I certainly don't want to swear and cursing it up, because I want people listening to understand that if you're listening to one of my shows, you
Right.
can have the kids in the room. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know who's going to hear us.
Right. And we may be discussing a topic that, you know, some people may need to hear. And if you're sitting there dropping F-bomb and S, you know, whatever, insert any curse word, people are going to tune out pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. You
So
know,
what else?
I could see in some circumstances the, you know, right scenarios, right audience, you know, using an explicative for effect, you know, certain audience, obviously, but not applied audiences for sure.
So, Todd, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and we're doing a political talk show here. So, have you heard about the woke schools across the country are twisting the meaning of Thanksgiving this holiday season?
Oh, every year we hear about that, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, Fox News, for example, that at the University of California, Davis, the so-called California History Society Science Project hosted an event last week called Decolonizing Thanksgiving in the Classroom. I don't know what that means. I have no clue what decolonizing Thanksgiving means. We will discuss reframing classroom practices and rituals about Thanksgiving. A description of now past event reads. Seeing perspectives from Turtle Island, the name of North America used by indigenous people, will help us decolonize Thanksgiving and spark new conversations about how to authentically make meaning of this holiday with our students.
Yeah, like, come on, what is wrong with people?
So now people are trying to
about?
change the whole heart of what Thanksgiving's about, and
What are you talking about, people?
woke
Come on.
DEI nonsense, and
Yeah.
this is our leftist liberal schools hard at work.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Hard at work. Yeah. Doing nothing. Folks, you're listening to the Common Sense Conservatives right here on WSMN 1590 AM and 95.3 FM. We come to you live every Wednesday, 7 to 9 Eastern. Colonel Chris Wyatt is off tonight. He is off at a fundraiser for his VFW, but he'll be back next week, folks, for your regular listeners and watchers out there, just so you know. But anyway, John, we got about what, less than 20 minutes out there?
Yeah, we got about 19 minutes, 18 minutes. Yeah.
All right. So here's another story here from Tennessee, and this is again from Fox News. It's from their opinion. David Marcus, don't be so sure socialists can't win in the heartland. Afton bans Ben, I just talked about her a minute ago. Competitive showing and special election raises questions about GOP midterm strategy. Things appear to be tightening up in a congressional special election between GOP nominee Matt Van Epps and Democrat Afton Ben, known as the AOC of Tennessee, in a congressional district that overwhelmingly voted for President Donald Trump. What's odd is not so much that the race is in question. Special elections are always odd and unpredictable birds, but rather that Ben is a far left socialist in a part of the country where conventional wisdom says a socialist should have no chance. She's the idiot that went into, like I just said a few minutes ago, the governor's office and had to be removed in 2019. But running against Matt Van Epps, acquaintance of mine, I won't say friend, but acquaintance of mine, who we will have on the show at some point, I'm hoping.
Oh.
Army veteran, by the way. So we'll hopefully have him on the show. I've talked to him a few times on social media and a couple of emails, but never been able to square him away to be able to be on the show. But at some point, I'm sure we'll grab him.
So how do you think somebody can come into a predominantly conservative area and start winning people over? Do you think they falsely represent themselves, kind of align with their ideologies a little bit, but then later on start twisting things around once they're elected?
Perhaps, but I think in this instance, this was what was Congressman Green's office or seat, and he resigned. And of course, I think people are upset with that. And at the same time, the amount of money being spent by some of the establishment folks, Matt Van Epps, a lot of the establishment folks don't like him. So I think a lot of people may stay at home. A lot of the hardline conservatives may stay at home. I don't know. And of course, these special elections tend to get people ginned up that are, usually on the fringe. They can't win mainstream elections, regular elections. They'll come out and force in these types of elections. Whereas a lot of regular everyday Republicans will stay at home because whether they think they have it in the bag or they're working, they're doing other things. They're not paying attention to elections. Whereas the left, they are going to focus on this election and show up in droves for sure. So there's a lot of scenarios
could,
going on in that
you
election.
you just struck a chord right there. Right now, the left are going to show up in numbers any election because they're trying to get it back. They're trying to regain control, and they're going to encourage people. The left is very strong and good at organizing.
Yes, they are.
The right, I think we tend to be independent thinkers,
Right.
and we tend to not
And more
collaborate or get collective on the matter. In fact, there come to my attention here not too long ago that during the last mayoral race here in Nashua, New Hampshire, the right could have beat it. The right could have won the mayor's race, but they only showed up 1 out of 9 voters. If they had a 2 out of 9 voters, they would have beat. So it's interesting to think that this section that Nashua probably has more Republicans or more conservatives on the voter registry. They just don't come out to vote.
Right. Yeah, and another thing is you got a lot of Republican parties at the local level, counties, etc., that generally don't go out and recruit younger people or new blood to come in and be active in their party, because a lot of times it's proximity to power. They want to have that association with the person in power. And of course, if you're coming in being competition for me for a position, well, all of a sudden, now all of a sudden there's 2 people competing for the affection or the attention of that member of Congress or that leader. So they tend to not want to recruit new people to come in. I think that hurts the Republican Party in the long run, because we don't try to promote young people. We don't try to go out and I say recruit them, mentor them, and get them to the position where they can actually be effective in the future. Instead, we leave them out to their own devices, out in the cold, if you will. And then the Democrats, as you said, they organize.
Yeah, they do.
That's what they
They
do.
scoop it right up, but they appeal to younger people because they
Right.
offer younger people a false sense of hope.
Right.
Your government's here to support you. Your government's here to make sure you're successful in life, which isn't true. But
No.
these younger people look at the government going, I don't know how I'm going to make it in life. I'm not sure I even understand it. So when they're telling them the government's going to be there to provide for them, it's appealing to younger people. Republicans are
is.
going out there going, government giving you a jack, boy, go out there and work for a living. You go out there and you get it. You earn it. But that doesn't sound so appealing because there's no security involved.
Right. Well, you see how hard it is to actually, make a living these days, and of course to get by. Inflation's out of control. No matter who's in power right now. If I can get something for free, hey, why not? You're going to tell me I got to go work? That's the fix. No, if I can get $1,000 or or $2,000 a month for free over here, why would I not support that? And that's the mentality of the left.
Yeah, hey,
I can
what?
get
If
it
you're
for
gonna pay
free.
me, I can game all day. I don't have to give up my childhood.
Right.
30 years old, still moving your thumbs across the joystick, right? That don't pan out well.
Oh, absolutely. But we all
I
have
just
to deal with
insult
it.
that most of our younger people that may be listening, but it's true. You got to grow up at some point in time and put the joystick down. I know a lot of people understand. I see some phenomenal young people, by the way. I've seen young people that get out
Oh, yeah.
there and really do it. But the point is how the left appeals to the young people. That's the whole point in this. And we do have the young Republicans in organizations like this, right, to try to coach young people into politics,
Yeah, well,
understanding of how things work.
but you also have to think about this, and I've seen it in Northeast Tennessee many, many times. Especially just since I've been politically active since leaving the Army, we set up a young Republicans in a county. It's active for maybe a year, and then it just kind of goes by the wayside because you have the main party that pretty much ostracizes them for the most part. They don't want to bring in the new young people, which is sad because again, that's competition for me, for my position, or for my the affection with the person in power. So they'd rather just not deal with them. And of course, the right for decades have written off the younger generation and say, oh, well, they're young and dumb liberals as they're, while they're kids, but whenever they get older, they'll be conservative. And that's not the case. People have stopped becoming conservatives as they've gotten older. They become just an adult version of a liberal versus becoming more conservative in many respects.
There is a thing about that people eventually evolve to becoming a conservative. They begin to understand and realize.
But as
however, that's not what you should be depending on. You
Right.
should still be around. And the thing that bothers me the most, Todd, is this gender gap. This whole thing about those young kids. They're never going to amount to anything. This resentment for the youth is what I'm
Yeah.
getting at here. And I remember when I was a kid, an old man pointing a finger at me. I walked into a shop. He points a finger at me. He goes, right there, that mop head right there. See, that's the ruin of America. That kid will never amount. I'm like, who are you? I don't even know you. And you're assaulting me. I'm 12 years old and you're telling me I'm a piece of crap. Thanks.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is not
Never
the
gonna
way to
never,
approach your youth. You got to jump
Right.
out there and appreciate them.
You can't sit there and make accusations. There's a lot of brilliant young people out there. Some of them not so brilliant. Some of them are tide eaters. They've always existed. But for the most
Right.
part, there's a lot of brilliant young people that are very, very capable. Knocking them down doesn't help. You're supposed to
absolutely.
elevate people and help them, give them hands up.
Well, you get a lot of adults that'll just discount young people or whatever. Oh, they're just this, they're just that, da 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 da. And it's like what they're really saying is, wow, this young person is actually a go-getter, smarter and brighter than I am, going to do better things than I've ever done in my life, and actually doing better things than I'm doing and have ever done in my life. It's a jealousy thing for some people. I'll be honest with you, it's jealousy.
It
a lot of
is.
it.
There
Yep.
used to be parents out there. I remember, younger days, parents out there. It's good enough for me to work in that factory. It's good enough for that little brat over there working in that factory.
Yeah,
No,
it's good enough for
get
you.
your
You
kid
think you're better.
educated. Yeah, you want because he's the next level.
Right.
This is your lineage. You don't want to sit there and knock him down. You don't hold your own kid back. You elevate your kid. You get him to the next level so he
Right.
can do it for his kids, so on and so forth.
There's some people that are warped mentality of if my kid does better than me, somehow I'm less than them. And it's like, no, put them on your shoulders and let them start from where you're at, and you give them a leg up. Maybe you didn't have millions of dollars to give them, but guess what? As far as you've made it in life right now, that should be your starting point for your kid, and then you push them from that point. I don't have kids or anything like that, and so I'm not going to try to pretend that I know everything, obviously, which I do. But the starting point for your kids should be where you leave off, where you know what I'm saying? That's where they should start at.
You are absolutely right. The American Indians, what was it? I remember it was Sitting Bull, and he was having
Right.
talks, and he was of the Sioux Indian, and he made a statement. He says, "I watch you white folks, you watch you white people, you berate your children and treat them like dogs."
Right.
And I can't understand that. He says, "We Sioux Indian, we treat our kids to be grown-ups because we expect them to grow up and do adult things."
Right.
And
And be good at it.
And this is a working philosophy. This actually works. This isn't just made up stuff. You got to talk up to your kids, not down to your kids. You got to elevate your kids, not lower your kids. You got to give them some hope and encouragement, but don't hold their hand the whole way. Push them to take the risk. Push them to do more, and let them fall so they can pick themselves back up and encourage them to do it again. But figure out how to do it right.
Right.
And I think that's what we're lacking sometimes is we discard them. We'll go figure it out. I don't have time to teach you. And I run into people like that. When I was a kid, I sought it out with my father. I was 12 years old and says, "Why does my brother always get to work on the car with my dad?" So I crawled up underneath there. I wanted to know how cars work too. I was always curious anyway. And next thing you know, my brother's like, "Dad, what? John's here. So, well, can I go? You staying, John?" It was like, so he didn't even want to be there. I'm like,
Right.
Heck yeah, man, get out of here. I got this. I'm handing wrenches and stuff. And I learned how to work on cars with my father.
There you
But he
go.
was willing to teach me because I wanted to learn.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think we should encourage our kids to learn. If you know how to fix cars, teach your children about cars. They
Right.
need to know this. Don't leave them subject to mechanics and stuff out there. You don't know, some of these guys are ripoffs and they're going to get screwed in life. They're not going to be able to get ahead because they're getting cheated out of their money.
Yeah.
I taught my
true.
daughter how to change oil, for cripe's sake.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny is that they'll teach you, or you'll go into some places and they'll be like, oh yeah, we changing the oil, doing this, doing all this, but we found this little thing wrong over here. You might be able to last a little bit longer, but we need to get this thing fixed soon. It's always the upsell of something,
So
if you
in the
don't know any better, they can take advantage of you.
In the 1980s, when the national magazines actually took a car and had a group of mechanics go through it, so mechanics go through it. If it needed a belt, it got a belt change. If it needed, they changed all the hoses. It didn't matter to me. We want all the hoses changed. We want all the filters changed. We want everything changed. Complete an oil change, and we'll do a cross-country trip. So they would take it into shops across the country.
Right, yeah.
And, hey, you know what? It's making kind of a funny sound I'm not familiar with. Can you take a look at it for me? Well, they come back and go, well, probably because this belt's broke. What belt do you mean? And you look at the belt, you can see the guy cut the belt. Stupid stuff like this was really going on, and they're like, X amount of, I don't remember what the statistics were, but X amount of shops done this compared to X amount of shops were honest.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there was a lot of dishonest people out there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And then they try to point out, well, no, you got to look right here. You had this little, and it's like, by the way, I'm so-and-so with, 60 minutes or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't call them out. They just went on their way. They just wanted to get the statistics.
Oh,
just to
yeah,
get-
I
but
get
it
that.
was-
But I've seen it where they've called them out.
You
they
mean
try to
people
step and fetch. No, right here, right. See, yeah. Yeah, nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
You got caught. So anyway, we got a few minutes left there.
We do. So Rand Paul is warning President Trump. How did he say? Did you see this?
No, go ahead, go with it.
Let's see. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky warned President Donald Trump that the mega movement could dissolve due to two things. What do you think those two things are, Todd?
Well, I don't know. Maybe if you if there's nobody else to head the movement, that could be one thing. Another would be if you continue to ostracize people that they even agree with you on most things.
Actually, he's just pointing out as simple as if he chooses to invade Venezuela, and I didn't think Trump was signaling to invade Venezuela. I know he has an interest to stop Venezuelan drug trades. And I know that's state sanctioned, so he's involved in that, but I don't know that he was actually thinking about invading Venezuela. But he pointed out if he chooses to invade Venezuela or continue sending American tax dollars to Ukraine, could break that bond. Do you think that's true?
Who knows with the way people are nowadays, Some people will support him no matter what he does. Some people will never support him no matter what he does.
I value Rand Paul. I like Rand Paul.
I do
He
too.
is a very, very intelligent man, very well informed. He's been in it for a long time.
Yeah.
And
he is not the enemy here. To try to make him the enemy of the American people or whatever, just because President Trump doesn't like him personally, I think it does all of us a disservice.
No, it concerns me when I see the mega, in the mega movement, I see people, if Trump calls out Rand Paul, people are attacking Rand Paul. Trump calls out Thomas Massey, people are, and I mean, I don't mean attacking him like physically. I mean, verbally attacking him on me.
Two of the biggest supporters of the Constitution in the House of Representatives, and you're going to attack them and say that these are horrible people, traitors, and all this stuff. I don't think so, people.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
Where it gets concerning.
Well, he's against this. It's like these are people who support the Constitution. Therefore, they support you. Whether you agree with them on a policy is besides the point. Constitution first and foremost, and then everything else secondary. Whenever it comes to governing.
So for me, if Rand Paul is saying that if Trump invades Venezuela, there must be something he knows about behind the scenes that we're not hearing, and he's signaling something. And I can understand maybe he might. I don't know. I don't know if I'd agree with him invading Venezuela, but and I don't know what just cause he would have to invade Venezuela. So I have a hard time with it. I mean, how are you going to go there and just invade the country? They're not declaring an act of war against us. I mean, we do have drug trades coming out of there, and that's one thing to handle the drug trades, but to go invade a whole country over it, I'm not sure.
Right. But people committing crimes. People committing crimes doesn't necessarily mean it's an act of war. Like the drug coming to this country doesn't necessarily mean it's an act of war. If it's state sponsored, something like that, yeah, you can make an argument, I imagine, to some degree. But is it an act of war necessarily?
Yeah, you would need.
It's a criminal act, but is it an act of war? You know what I mean? I'm not saying drugs are good, drugs are bad. Don't worry. But I'm just saying, is it an act of war? That's what we got to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you have to have an act of war to use policing with the military, but if you're going to invade another country, I think you're committing an act of war. So,
if the drug boats are in international waters and refusing to stop, and you did your escalation of force, that's one thing. But just starting to shoot at them, I don't like that idea. Don't just start shooting at them. Give them the opportunity to stop, turn themselves in. If they don't, whatever rules or engagement are in place, I think you should follow those.
Yes, we got to follow protocols and stuff. I have no sympathy for drug traffickers, drug dealers.
No. I'm not saying that, but
what I'm saying is some of these people are like, "Oh my God, this is terrible." And due process. I'm not sure due process applies if they're foreigners in international waters and they're a threat to the United States of America. But we do have international laws and things like that to take into consideration.
But are they committing an act of war, or is it just a criminal act? See, that's what I'm saying. Do we just start shooting at people because they're committing a criminal act if they're not actively shooting at somebody else? You see what I'm saying?
So on the drug runners, Trump's argument is that these people are dangerous and run paramilitary units. So it's difficult to manage them as far as apprehension and things like that go. It could be very dangerous. So he's using harsher tactics. To me, seeing these guys are getting blown out of the water, if in fact they're truly drug traffickers coming to the United States of America, I just don't have any sympathy for them at all, because we hurt as a nation because of it. I mean, this isn't something like, you slap somebody on the wrist for. They're feeding drugs to our fifth graders. They're feeding drugs to people in our society that's causing detriment and harm to our society. It's crippling us as a nation because we're funding government money for rehab centers to try to get these. We're basically feeding into the drug trades instead of fighting against a drug trade. So this is why I like Donald Trump's tactics.
Yeah, but let's say John's out in international waters on a nice fishing trip, and then all of a sudden they start shooting at you.
I hope that doesn't happen because
Right,
I'm not going to
okay.
be in
I'm just saying.
international waters. I'm wondering while I'm there. But ladies and gentlemen, that is our bit for tonight. We hope you got something out of it. A little bit of discussion, a little bit of interesting stuff maybe. And well, have yourselves a happy Thanksgiving, and we will catch you next week, same time, same place.